Hello arm wrestling legends, welcome back to the channel. While everyone is obsessed with biceps and forearm gains, people coming from nowhere doing heavy ass biceps curls, 100 kilograms with one arm. A caveman with his one-sided body carrying a 25 inches pumpkin between his shoulders, getting in hook with 140 kilograms rock, a walking dinosaur with one arm, feeding his head corn and Doritos, is turning into an alien. You can't tell him to stop. He's the wizard of his magic. An increasing size head at late 40s is something not to be considered normal. Something impossible is occurring. 4 years ago, he measured it, and it was 23 inches. A year later, his head gained 1 full inch in size. And the most recent from 10 months ago, his head reached 25, but he mentioned that he lost half an inch in circumference. That may be due to his cut or even drop in pancake consumption. There are several theories that may explain this mystery, and I will mention some of them. And guys, if you want me to continue this series, just tell me. So, let's begin. Gaining excess body fat could help increase the amount of fat in certain body parts, including the head. There is little evidence to support the concept of spot increase or fat gain targeted to a specific area. Typically, bodies have a hard time supporting and maintaining muscle without body fat. That's why bodybuilders bulk in the off-season and only trim down for shows. But for an arm wrestler, going into a calorie deficit before a match would likely have an impact on arm and head measurements, as you're stripping away fat and water deposits. You need to body fat to gain the size in addition to muscles. Everyone know what is the giant pumpkin theory. If you don't, I suggest you this video. Just imagine that from only training the right arm, how every neuron from his brain and body must power that right arm during a match. Every cell firing up all the muscle fibers in Devon's right arm for his trademark limitless endurance to tire out the opponent with muscle-burning lactic acid, and then the explosive power to pin and finish. This legend might be in his 40s, but he's not slowing down, and he's now really tapping into his primed peak level of performance. Pumpkin training works well if you're a weight class arm wrestler, putting all your energy and resources into the one arm and not packing on extra weight and size that isn't as specialized. But to be competitive as a super heavyweight these days, it looks like you need to train the whole body to get as big and strong as possible. But Devon has his own physics laws. I expect in few years, his right arm becomes independent, runs off his body, and unifies with the rest of the runaway pumpkin body parts from all over the world, forming the creature and new ruler of the world, the Pump King. And then Devon uses a wheelchair to get around to reduce blood flow to the lower body, and redirect it to his right thumb. Devon performs thumb curls throughout the day wherever he goes and gets monthly growth hormone and stem cell injections into his forearm and thumb. The second theory states that the size of his head is due to his tremendous arm wrestling IQ. Devon has the best table IQ, but it's more his ability to understand and act on it in the split-second decision that makes him so effective with it. Devon's training technique is about time under tension and endurance training. Those little movements build tendon strength and usable muscle applicable to his craft, not just show muscles. He'd lift super heavy if he wanted massive guns, but he isn't, not at his age. It wouldn't make sense anyway. There will always be a bigger, younger guy out there. He shouldn't be going for anything other than that. Instead, just slow, methodical improvements. He's got many good years left in the sport. People will be surprised. Every time you switch sides of your body, left or right side of your naturally dominated side, your brain has to swap literally everything. And when normally going right to left, your brain now is left to right, it can cause slight deviations and slowly cause injuries that accumulate over vast periods of time. And these small chronic injuries in his right arm are not a coincidence. Unless you become proficient in both left and right, and both sides are of the same dominance. Devon's arm increase is like the Richter scale. Not linear, a small increase means a huge impact. The most accepted assumption that explains the growth of his two pumpkins is due to eating too much pancakes, growth hormone guys. This affects the entire body to some degree, but in some places the chemical receptors tend to be especially sensitive. In an adult, very large doses of growth hormone can cause the skull to thicken, and the forehead and eyebrow ridge to become especially prominent, and his arm bones too. Anyone ever seen that movie, The Lady in the Water? There's a character in there that makes me think of Devon. It's this guy that lives in an apartment complex named Reggie. Reggie only ever lifts weights or exercises with his right arm. This was pre-Devon's giant pumpkin training and seemed kind of silly in the movie, but he goes on to have a major moment in the show. Anyway, you should all YouTube one-armed guy lady in the water. I still think of Devon as Reggie whenever I see him. Before I end this video, there's a question for you. There's a growing bud out of his pumpkin, and it's very dangerous. Do you know what it is? I hope not, because it's the interest of the next episode. In the end of the video, don't forget to slap the red button and tell me if you want to know the secret of the next episode.